and bonding agents. This is a very nice lecture because it's basically one of the materials that we use the most in the clinics. And a lot of times, several of the materials that you're going to use for different purposes has also resin in their composition. So this lecture is a base for several of the procedures that we do, and the properties of those materials will be applied in several of the other materials that we have in the clinic. So enjoy it, and yours. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Tell you how special I need it today. Before I start, you guys do the, have you started the sealant program? So have you had lectures on the sealant material? You already know? Sealant is a composite material. So hopefully in the next 45 minutes, 45, we have left. You'll know a little bit more about composite. Now, I have 45, 50 minutes to talk about composite resin material and bonding agents, which is actually each topic you can talk a half day or a day about. So I'm trying to condense everything in 1 hour just to give you an idea. So what is it? I know you've done etching, right? And you know when you do etching, so I can skip all on the little things that you already been exposed to. But mainly we're going to talk a little bit about the material, the properties, when to use it, what's good about it, what's not good about it. All right, let's talk about this every year. Now everything is posted online. You don't have to take notes, just sit back and stop me anytime if you have a question. Because I'm my best friend. So the goal is because you have something like this. That's a veneer actually retraction. So you're not going to replace it. Patient can afford it. You have veneers, you can fix it. One option is composite resin to repair it. The goal is to do it. You have old fillings that need to be replaced. Patients want something light, no more mercury in their mouth, no more silver. But to go from here to here, we have quite a few steps we have to know about how to do it. Before we even do that, we need to know to understand the material we are using. If you don't know the material you're using, you're never going to be able to take advantage of that material or to be able to give the patient what they need. So I know that the material, when I was a student, I needed that material. It's boring. High school physics that I didn't know about, I didn't want to know about. It's boring. But you need to understand it to be able to apply it. Let's talk a little bit about, overall, today we're going to talk composite resins and bonding agents. Composite resin, I'll be referring to your sealant material because you've used it before, so you know what it is. That's a composite resin. When you talk about composite, it's something you take two different things, you combine them, and you produce something that has either intermediate or something new. Water is a composite. However, composite resins, you have resin components. You take two different things. The two different things that you have, basically, think of composite resins. Let's start with your sealant. It's very runny, right? It's runny for a reason. But even the sealant is made up of these two things. One of them is the matrix. Matrix, you take a matrix, something fluid, something organic, and we start to add particles to it. That's what you call filler material, or particles. Those filler materials are going to be floating around in that matrix. This is the matrix, it's organic. The particles are, think the particles are glass. They're inorganic. They don't bond. So you add them together, they're going to be floating around. To be able to take advantage of the properties or to improve the properties of the material, we need to have a way to bond this to this. And that's what you add the coupling agent or silane. You'll hear this term next year. By the way, I'll be talking about this next year again and in junior class, so you'll have me again. I don't expect you to know all of it. I'll tell you what you need to know. So we need something to bond the particles to the matrix. Otherwise, they're floating. Otherwise, like they are shells on the beach, and you can just pick them up. Fine. Doesn't give the material any strength. Then you can add the different dyes. What gives the composite its different colors? That's the optical modifier. And you need some way for the composite to react, to set. You used sealant. How did you initiate the reaction? Light. Have you done Cronenberg yet? No? Have you done any upstairs? Did you do a temper? Use what did you use? Integrity? Integrity, if you look at that big tube, has two inside it. And you put the tip and everything is mixed up in the tip, right? That's another way to issue the reaction. So you have two, one is base with catalyst, as long as they are separated, they don't react. So in the sealant, all these are present in the composite except this, which is a light. In the integrity, which is a composite resin material, it is a resin. All this is one in one tube, and this one is another. Once you mix them, it reacts. Okay? So basically, what you have is a resin matrix, which is in general usually with this phenol molecule. And it has a very, it's running, it's very low viscosity. It's important to understand the matrix and the particle. When you take something fluid and you start adding to it particles that are bounded to it, to the matrix, it's a closed system, right? The matrix is fluid. Think of it as water. It's not water, think of it. I'm going to add sand to it. To keep the same volume, I'm going to have to take some of the water to make room for the sand, right? The more sand I add, which are the particle, the thicker the material is going to be. You take your sealant, start adding more particle to it, it's going to make it thicker. Which is basically the particles of the filler material is what make or give the physical property to the material itself. And that will determine later how to use it and where to use it. For example, sealants, you cannot use it for filling material. You can't do it category. It's too weak. Filler material is very low. It's mostly matrix. The particles are inorganic. They don't change. The matrix is organic. It changes. Anytime you have an organic matrix or anything organic, and as it sets, it's going to shrink. By the way, I never follow my slides. This is for you to study later. Just pay attention to me. So you have a matrix, organic, and you have a filler material. The more filler material you add, the stiffer the material is going to be. The better the physical quality.
By inorganic and organic, do you mean composition of carbon?
And by having an organic matrix, it will always shrink. Composite doesn't always shrink. Now, if you have two different composites, one has high filling material and one has low, If one has high filler material, that means you have low matrix. Right? It's a closed system, it's the same law. It's going to shrink differently. Which one will shrink better? Will shrink more better. The one that has more matrix. So your composite will shrink more than.
So, just to relate this to materials, then, global is going to shrink more than
Exactly.
that.
So as you go, we'll talk a little bit more. As you increase the filler material, the less matrix. As you decrease the matrix, the less shrink. But the shrinkage is always there. It's always going to happen. Okay? Now the filler material can be different shapes, different sizes. Don't ask me about the sizes because I don't know. It can be different material. It could be glass, it could be quartz, it could be silicate. Different kind of particles are. Different composite is different filler material, different shapes. They can be of different sizes. And that when you hear the term microfill, microhybrid, nanofill, they refer to the size of your particles. So you can have a macrofill, which you don't feel. Macro will be a huge filler material, which makes the material very strong, but at the expense of something else. And they have the large size particle, and then as you decrease. The one that we are using here, the one you're going to be playing with next year, or this year if you do composite, it falls into the hybrid, which has a small and tiny particles. It's a mixture of particles. Now, I don't expect to do all this. This is just for you to know, if you have a small particles versus large particles, or if you have more matrix versus less matrix, filled versus filled, it will affect the strength of the material, but at the same time, it will affect how well you polish the material. Because the most polished surface you're going to have probably is the matrix. When you are polishing composite material, you place the filling, you cure, you always have a particle sticking out, like this, out of the matrix. So what you're doing when you're polishing, trying to take those particles or the sticking out all the way to the level of the matrix to make it look shiny. So the larger the particles, the less polishable it is. So they're going to polish as well. The smaller particles is easy to bring them down to the surface. Make sense? Why am I telling you this? Because that can determine where to place it. If you are worried more about strength, more than polishing, more than shiny, appearance of the material, you want something but larger particles or stronger particles, right? If I'm doing an anterior tooth, how well the tooth polishes, it's important, because it's important aesthetically. So the small particles like microfill, they polish better than the macrofill. However, now, that's where they came up with that, why don't we mix them together? So if we have a hybrid material, where you can say, improve the strength by mixing small and large particles, different size particles. And at the same time, by putting those small particles, you're improving the polishability. You have a material to use both anterior and posterior. So the hybrid material, or microhybrid, you use it for both. It's a universal material. You can use it anterior. But if you need something that is highly polishable, microfill is here. So, what I will talk about. So by adding different size, you take the microfill, it's a little bit more higher, larger particles in there, you improve the strength. And you can use it in all areas of the okay. That's good. The siding, remember I said, we have the matrix, organic matrix, this GMA molecule, we have particles. If we don't bond them together, they're going to be floating around, and all those properties don't mean anything. Because they'll be flowing, and particles are just going to separate from you. It's nothing. That's where you add the coupling agent with the silane. The silane, you're going to hear this again, and it's something you always use anytime you're trying to bond something inorganic to something organic. When you have all ceramic crown, you learn about them, you're going to bond it to a tooth that is organic. Ceramic is not. You need something in between, which is a silane. It's like intra-bonding agent. It's not a bonding agent. It's to bond the particles to the matrix. And you put pigments to get the colors you have. And you're getting really good with these. You really match almost anything on almost. Now, the composite is resins in general. They're kind of classified into two things. One we already talked about is the size of the particle. The filler material determines the properties of the material. The other way is the mode of curing. How does it harden? How is it polymerized? The one you use with the composite is a light cure material. The composite used upstairs, the integrity, that's a chemical. The only difference is this. In the initiator, you have one of it has to have the diketone in the chemical, and the light. So just remember, you have light cure, chemical cure, and you have something that is combined, which we call dual cure. So dual cure, basically, you initiate your reaction with your light and let it finish the reaction later, chemically. And you use those usually when you're cementing crowns. You want to use resin cement to cement, you initiate it, but the crown is too thick for the light to go through. So you initiate it to cure around the margin and continue curing for another 4 or 5 minutes on its own. Okay? The light cure gives you more time to work with the material. Because it's, as long as you don't hit it with a light, that's the biggest advantage of it. All the time in the world to work with it. Chemical is different. You have to work fast.
How does the ambient light affect the curing time? Is it only a specific wavelength of light?
470 to get the maximum conversion rate from monomer to polymer. Yeah.
So if you just
But
like
this
that-
light can start the reaction.
Okay.
Even, you know, I know you have your roofs and you have the filter. Even with the filter, you can still do it. It's not as fast because it's at the, now your overhead with your light. Without the filter, it'll set it quickly. With the filter, it slows it down, but it slows that. I'm not saying if you don't have your curing light or lazy to go get it, don't shine your light. That's not enough. No, right? You have to have. You get a lecture about curing light next year, because it has to reach a certain power to be able to cure that 2 million years. Okay. It has to be a certain distance from it. Curing from this distance is different than curing from this distance. And depending on the, now I don't think it's a big problem, but at one time, some light cures did not cure some composites. They didn't have that detail. So some composite didn't have amphiquino, light eco, they can cure. So if you use certain composite with somebody else's light, you can cure. The way it reacted, the way it sets is basically like everything else. You have some about acrylic, like some lectures about acrylic convention. It's basically the same kind of reaction. It's addition reaction. You have monomers, tiny small molecule, and then you start adding to it. Once you initiate the reaction, whether chemically or for the light, you can create free radicals, and free radicals are 104 electrons, and you can start attaching smaller particles to each other, and then it's going to branch. It's going to be straight, tiny molecule is going to be huge molecule, and it's going to branch. Like any reaction, you're going to end up with, you're going to initiate it, and it's going to stop at some point. Composite resins, when you do it in the mouth, you don't always have 100% conversion, meaning not all 100% of the monomer converted to polymer. It's not 100%. You always have some free radicals floating around. If you want to increase the conversion rate, we need to do it outside the mouth, in the lab, under heat, under light, and under vacuum. So you have two different ways on the side. Sometimes you do a composite chair side, you are doing it in the mouth. Sometimes you take an impression, like you do with the crown, send it to the lab, let them do it. It gives you a stiffer, harder, stronger material because you have more conversion. Okay? All composite resin, when you composite resin, when you cure the surface of it, you have some in your kit, or they give it to you second year composite. You have some. If you want to play with it, just take it, place it a little bit, on a tapping dish or mixing pad, cure it, and look at it. And wipe, try to wipe. You're going to see that the top layer is not complete, it's not set, it's still tacky. Now, if you take anything transparent, a little piece of ceramic, and cover it before, and then cure, and take it out, you're going to see this, the material perfectly smooth and shiny. That top layer of the composite was micron. As long as they are exposed to the air, to the oxygen, it will not set. That's what we call the oxygen emitted layer. Now, this is important in clinical practice because if I take composite, cure it, I don't cover it, let it be exposed to the air, cure it, it allows me then to go back, take more composite, add to it, and it will become one with the old composite. Follow me? If I don't have that air-inhibited layer, if I remove it, or if I cover the material with a coolant, so it's not exposed to the air, I don't have the air-inhibited layer. So now it's perfect. It's like having a polished composite, and you're adding composite to it. It will be layered, not incorporated in it. We'll go, just remember, yes.
On that, is that because of the free oxygen
Yes.
just adjacent? So it's the Kino reaction starts free radical and then
Yes.
it collects that. Does that happen with nitrogen as well and other?
No, no, it doesn't. Just it's basically that. Now, just know that the top layer, as long as it is exposed to the air, to the oxygen, it will not set. It's called oxygen emitted layer. So if you see it on the exam, I say hit it for a while. That's what it is. Because of the matrix, everything composite doesn't shrink. This is important to know. Because if we don't try to minimize it, we cannot eliminate it. If we cannot control it, it will affect our final product, our final restoration. Anytime you're doing a filling, when you start doing this thing, what is in the ground, you worry about three things. You worry about that whatever you're doing is going to stay there, right? That's what we call retention form. You're going to worry about make sure that it's not going to break. More importantly, you want to make sure that the tooth itself doesn't break. And you want to make sure that it's sealed, so it doesn't cause problems later on. So if you are doing composite, it's important to seal the mold. When we are placing composite resin in a hole, if we just place it, you've done amalgam, right? Okay. So I can refer to amalgam. How do you restore amalgam? You drill a hole, right? Take amalgam, mix it and stuff. You can do that with composite. Composite is more of a fluid material. If I treat it like amalgam, I take a hole and fill it with light and then hit it with the composite and then hit it with a light. It's going to shrink. As it shrinks, it pulls away from the walls. Amalgam doesn't do that. If it shrinks, if it pulls away from the walls, what's going to happen? Leakage, sensitivity. Patient comes back and they come like this. Every time I drink cold, it hurts. We have micro leakage, continuous decay. You replace it, charge them again, right? No. That's one thing. The other thing is, when it's shrinking, it's creating some stresses on the tooth. So if I have a wall here and it's a composite and I have it and then shrinking, and it's going to start to shrink away from it as it's cured. If the forces of those stresses harder or larger than the bond of this to the tooth, it's going to come out. You'll have that with open mouth. But if it's not, if it's I haven't talked about bond range, I don't want to teach you. If it pulls away, if it's the bond of the composite as it shrinks, the stresses from the shrinkage, stronger than the bond is going to rebound. But if the bond of bonding agent to the tooth is stronger, and you have a weak tooth, it might break it. It might create some microcracks. So we need to control the direction of the shrinkage. And that's why composite, you don't do it like amalgam, you do it in layers. You're not going to eliminate the shrinkage, but you are redirecting the stresses. You're not reducing the stresses created by the shrinkage. I'll let you read this here. The good thing about composite, you've done amalgam, and I'm sure when you're done, you have open margin, you break. What did the instructor tell you? Do it again, right? You have to remove. With amalgam, with composite, you don't have to do that. But you can just repair it. That's one, in my opinion, one great advantage of composite. The other thing is, as compared, always when you're talking about properties of materials, always compared to other properties as well. With amalgam, you have what you call it can have a little shock. If you have two metals galvanic current, you don't have that with composite. The expansion of the composite is a little bit better than, much better than the amalgam. It has a low thermal expansion. Amalgam usually, when you're done, if you had amalgam, it's sensitive to cold, sensitive to hot. You by mistake bite on your chewing gum wrap, you jump because of the electrical shock. All that is removed. Use it anteriorly, posteriorly, however. When you don't want to use it. You might see this on the exam. It's easy work. It's very technique sensitive, meaning you have to have, first you have to know what you're doing, two, you have to have a good isolation. So you need to use a rubber band to isolate the tube. You can't have saliva and blood floating around. It's a good material if you are using for interiorly for sure, you're not going to use amalgam, you can use gold. Posteriorly for sure it is. However, you cannot abuse the material. It's good if you have small, medium size restoration if you want to do a chair side. Anything bigger than this, you might have to do it, it's better to do it indirect. Like take an impression and do it outside. So it has its limitations. If I have something like this, I have rubber dam and I cannot isolate. I can do the composite here, it's not going to stay. Even if it stays, it's not going to seal all the way around. You know, micro leakage, you're going to have problems. So if you cannot isolate very well, don't try to think of something else you can do chair side, direct restoration. Or you want to do composite, you might have to do it indirect, where you can control the bleeding of the saliva a little bit better. Okay? Paroxysm, I don't know. That's, I've always had a problem with this. Because this one you always see it in every single thing, every lecture. Paroxysm is contraindication. I used to prox, but what I was supposed to do if you prox, you don't deserve to have to eat? What? It's always a relative contraindication. Just recognize it, know the risks, and treat it. I mean, you can have them wear a night guard, but they need to understand that they might break it if they severe bruxism. But it's not like if somebody's bruxism, no portion of counts. All right. That would be easy to identify bruxism. Everybody with both crowns is a bruxism. Do you guys do both crowns upstairs?
Is that the solution though? Because I know amalgam bruxism is a big issue because it goes up much. So
So on the bruxism you can't use amalgam, you can't use composite, you can't use porcelain. Just take the two down. And you can give them implants. And dentures are going to break it. So the hell with it. No, you have to treat those. I mean, you have to identify it. Okay, people brux for a reason. Sometimes you give them night guard not just to protect the teeth, it's just to train them. Because some people do it during the day sometimes. The ones who do it at night, they don't know. But by putting a night guard, you have to protect those